Hello and welcome to the LearnWD channel. Today we're gonna see a new tutorial about JavaScript, and we are gonna create the snake game using pure JavaScript and HTML5 Canvas. And our snake game will look like this. Before we go and type in our code, we will see the logic about the game. First thing we're gonna do is to create the HTML5 canvas with an ID, and then with the width and the height, both equal to 608 pixels. Remember, we always start from the left to the right and from the top to the bottom. Now everything else will be created using JavaScript. The first thing we're going to do is to select the canvas and set that to a constant. And then we'll use the get context, which gives us a lot of methods and properties that allow us to create or draw anything on the canvas. And we set that to a constant. We will need images in our game, so we have to load them first. To load an image or to create an image, we use the new image object. Then we set the source property, the location of the image, and the same thing for the audio files. To play an audio file, we say audioname.play. We use the play method. Now to draw an image to the canvas, we will say context.drawImage. The draw image gets a lot of arguments. We will stick just with this 5. Now we'll say context.drawImage. This is our image object, for example. Its x and y positions, the width and the height. So in our canvas, this is 14 pixels from the right, this is 15 from the top, this is 25 for the width and 25 for the height. So our image will be drawn right here. Also, we're gonna need to draw rectangles. So to draw a rectangle, we first have to set the fill style, the color, for example red, and then use the fillRect method, which gets the x and the y position and the width and the height of the rectangle. So this is 100 from the left, 300 from the top, the width, the height. So our rectangle will be red and in this position. For our game, we will use this background, and we will need a unit. The unit is based on this box. This box here is 32 pixels in the height and 32 pixels in the width. So we won't use 1 pixel because it is so small. We will use 30 pixels, and then we create a new unit called box, and it is equal to 32 pixels. For example, if we say fill style is black, the color, then fillRect, if we say for the x that equals 5 boxes, then we will go and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes from the left. Then if we say 6 boxes from the y position, then we go and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes from the top. Then for the width it's 2 boxes. For the height is 3 boxes. Then our rectangle will be right here. Now remember, this is 1 box, this is 17 box, this is 3 boxes, and this is 15 boxes. Our game is made from 4 things: the snake, an array, the ground, an image, the food, the score, a text. To draw all of them, we will need a function called draw, and then we have to call the draw every 100 milliseconds. And then we set this to a variable game in case we want to stop the game later. Now to draw the ground, we will say context.drawImage, the ground image which has 0 for x and y position. In our canvas we will get this. Now our snake is an array, so we have to declare the snake as an array. Then we will create 1 cell in this snake. So for the snake with index 0, the cell, the first cell, the head, it has this position: x is 9 boxes and y is 10 boxes. To draw our snake, we have to loop over all the snake array. So we're gonna use a for loop. Then we will say context fill style for the color, and I'm using the ternary way, which say context fill style equals green if this is true, if I is 0, and it is white if I is different from 0. Then we draw our cell, which is a rectangle, and then we will add a stroke. Then in our canvas we will get a rectangle with a red stroke. Now let's say we have another cell with index 1 which has this position. In our canvas we will get a rectangle with white color and a red stroke. Now let's create the food. The food is an object which has an X position and Y position. Now the food will be generated or created randomly, so we will need the method.random function. The random function returns numbers between 0 and 1, but us we want them between 1 box and 17 boxes. This line here will return a float. We need an integer, so we'll use the method.floor and then multiply it by the box. This way the X position of the food will be between 1 box and 17 boxes. And the same for Y position of the food, it will be between 3 boxes and 18 boxes. To draw the food, we'll use the draw image. The food image, its X and Y positions. For example, the food will be in this place. Now we need a score. We will create a variable score equals 0. To draw a text on the canvas, we need a color using the fill style property, the font, a font size and the font family, then the fill text method which gets a score, a string, and the X position and the Y position. Then these 3 lines here will draw the 0 or the score in this place. Now to control the snake we will use the arrow keys from the keyboard, and what you have to know is that every key on the keyboard has a code. For example, the left key, its code is 37, there's 38, 39 and 40. Then to know which key was pressed by the player, we need to add an event listener to the document, which is key down. And then we run this function, direction. The function direction gets an event as a parameter. This event has a property key code. The key code property returns the code of the key pressed by the player. So if this code is 37, means the direction is left, or the key pressed is left. As if it's 38, the direction is up, and so on. Then we have to declare our variable outside the function so any other function can have access to it. Using just these conditions will lead us to a problem, which is, for example, if our snake is going to the right, then the player press the left key, then the snake will go into the opposite direction, which is not acceptable. So we'll have to say, and the direction was not right. So this means when the player press the left arrow and the direction was not right, then the snake can go to the left. And the same for the other directions. Now let's see how the snake moves. Remember, our snake is an array. For example, if I have an array and I say array.pop method, this line here will remove the last entry of the array. And if I say array.unshift9, for example, this will add 9 to the beginning of the array. So the array.pop will remove the last entry, and the unshift method will add a new entry to the beginning of our array. So to move our snake, we will just have to remove the tail and add a new head, remove the tail, add a new head, and so on. If I do this fast, you can see that the snake is moving. So the first thing we have to do is to use the snake.pop to remove the tail. Then before we create a new head, we need 2 things. The first one is the old head position, and we assign them to new variables, snake x and snake y. This is the old head position. And then if the snake head goes to the right, we will say snake plus 1 box. If it goes to the left, we will say snake minus 1 box. If it goes to the top, we will say snake y minus 1 box. If it goes to the bottom, we will say snake y plus 1 box. So based on the old head position and one of these direction, we will create the new head. Then we unshift this new head to the snake. Remember, if we don't use the snake.pop and just keep adding a new head, our snake here will get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now when the snake eats the food, it means that our snake head has the same position as the food. So the snake x is the food x and the snake y is the food y. So if this is true, we're gonna increment the score and then create new food, and we don't remove the tail, we just add a new head. Now for the game over rules, we need to check if there is a collision, means if the snake hits itself. This is the head of the snake with index 0, and this is a cell, the snake 13, and also the new head. So there is a collision if the new head has the same position as this cell. So in general, what we're gonna do is that every time we're going to check if our new head has the same position as one of these cells. So we will use a function called collision, which gets two arguments, the new head and the snake, and then we will loop over the snake cells and check if there is any cell that has the same position as the new head, and then we return true, which means there is a collision, or we return false if there is no collision. And it's also a game over if the snake hits the wall. For example, in this case, the snake x is less than 1 box. Snake x is less than 1 box, or in this case, the snake x is less than 3 boxes. Or in this case, the snake x is greater than 17 boxes. Or in this case, the snake y is greater than 17 boxes. Now I think we are ready to type our code. Let's start by creating a new file, index.html and the snake.js, the images we're gonna be using, and the audio files. Inside the index.html, I'm going to create a canvas with an ID, snake, width equals to 608 pixels, and the same for the height. I'm going to link the script, snake.js. Let's create the constant canvas, document that get element by ID of the canvas. The ID is snake. Then a context, using the getContext method, 2 dimensions, and then we create the unit, constant box equals 32 pixels. Now we have to load the images, const ground, new image, object, and then we have to link or give it the source of the image, so it's in the folder image, and ground.png. The food image. Now let's create the snake. The snake is an array, so I'm going to say let snake equals an array. Then I will initiate the snake with index 0. It's the head, its x and y positions. Then I'm going to create the food. The food is an object that has an x and y positions. We'll use the mad.random function to generate random food. I'm going to create the score variable. Its score equals 0. Then the function that will draw everything to our canvas. We're going to call it draw. Function draw. Context.draw image. We're gonna draw the ground. Now I will call the draw function every 100 milliseconds using the set interval. I'm gonna assign that to a variable so we can stop the game later. Now I'm going to loop over the snake to draw all the cells. Select fill style equals, if I equals 0, then it will be the green. Instead it will be white, or otherwise it will be white. Then set x fill rect, the x position for every cell, the y, then the width and the height, both equal to 1 box. Then I'm gonna draw a stroke. With the red color. Now we should see the snake head with the red stroke. Then I'm gonna draw the food. It's food.x and food.y. Now if I refresh, the food takes random places. Then I'm gonna draw the score with a white color, font size of 45 pixels, and change one for the font size. The string is the score, then the x and the y position. Now I should see the 0 next to the apple. Now I have to control the snake, so we have to add an event listener and key down, and the direction function. So the function direction here will get an event. We will say if the event key code equals to 37, then the direction is left. I'm gonna copy this 4 times, 38, 39, and 40. So here the direction is left. Now the direction here is up, right, then down. I have to declare the d variable outside the function. Let's get all the head position. Let snake x equal the snake of 0 dot x, and the same for the snake y position. Then I will remove the tail, snake.pop method. Then I will see which direction the player pressed. Then if the direction is left, then the snake x minus 1 box. If the direction was up, right, then down. So I will say y, x plus 1 box, y plus 1 box. Then I will add new head. So I set let new head, x is the snake x, y is the snake y. This is the new head. I will unshift this to the snake array. Now I can control the snake. But there's a problem. I have to add a new condition here to prevent the snake to go to the opposite direction. Now I don't have that problem anymore. Now let's go and increment the snake size if it eats the food. So if the snake x is the food.x and the snake y equals snake y. If that's true, I will increment the score. Then I will generate new food. Then else, if that's not true, I will remove the tail. But if the snake eats the food, I won't remove the tail. Now here I will say food.y. Now our snake is getting bigger. That's good. Now I have to set the game over rules. So if the snake x is less than 1 box, less, and snake.x is greater than 17 boxes, or the snake y is less than 3 boxes, or the snake y is bigger than or greater than 17 boxes, then we clear the interval. Let's try that. Yes, and refresh. Yes. When the snake hits the wall, the game stops. Now I will check the collision. So the collision is true when the new head has the same position as one cell, any cell of the snake. So I will create a new function called collision. So the function collision here has two parameters, the head and array, which is the snake array. Now I will loop over the array and see if there is a match, and see if the new head position matches the any cell of the snake. If it's true, I will return true. There is a collision. If not, I will return false. Now I will try to get my snake bigger and hit myself. Yep, that's working. Now I will go and load the audio files. So I will say const dead equals new audio. I have here 6 audio files. So one for the up direction, one for the left, and the right and down, one for when the snake adds the food, one for the game over. Set the source property for any or for every audio is the one for the direction up, for the right, left, and then down. Now I will go to the direction function and play the right sound for every direction, the up sound, the right, and the down. Then when the snake eats the food, I will play the eat.mp3, and then when it's a game over, I will play that mp3. So this is the end of this video. Don't forget guys to subscribe and like my video. So see you in another tutorial.